What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. It is Battle from one of your favorite iHeartRadio stations that you hear across the country. And, well, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, I highly suggest going to the movies to see what I know will be a fan favorite, especially when it comes to the wrestling community. Queen of the Ring in theaters this Friday. The movie, of course, based on Mildred Burke of the NWA, and you know her story. And somebody who is a part of the movie that helped told that story. Everybody give it up for our guest today. Martin Kove joins the show. Martin, sir, how are you doing? It's an honor to have you here.
I'm good. I'm really good. I think people really like this movie. It's, Ash Avildsen, who's, his father I worked for in Karate Kid. He directed Karate Kid. He directed Rocky. It's a terrific story, terrific underdog story. And I only saw it a few days ago, and it was brilliant. I saw it in Nashville. And it was really terrific. And Emily is marvelous. Emily Betts Richards is marvelous. And the fighting is really good. Good stunt women doing some work and female wrestlers. And Emily does some great work as well. So it's really good. It's kind of like watching Karate Kid, it's sort of like watching Rocky. It's got all these elements.
Yeah, and it was a fantastic movie. We were a part of the premiere last Thursday in Nashville. Great movie. Excited to see for the rest of the world to see this in theaters this Friday. And, of course, you play legendary promoter Al Haft, who a lot of people know as the creator of the Midwest Wrestling Association and also co-founder of the NWA. What drew you to this product? Were you a fan of professional wrestling before this was presented to you, or, how did this all come about?
Well, I remember as a child growing up in Brooklyn, watching Man Mountain Dean, Haystacks Calhoun, all these wrestlers. I remember on Channel 9, Channel 11, and I was very young. And it was interesting theatrics. Were they getting hurt? I couldn't tell because I was probably 5 or 6, But I remember always saying, wow, these are really good athletes. They really can take abuse, And I wasn't quite into football yet. And so that was on. It was on, I don't know, Friday night, Thursday night, something. I don't remember. Because it was that and Westerns. And that's what I'd watch as a child. And then, doing a film with Hulk Hogan, a couple of movies of the week for TNT. And then he took me to, a couple of wrestling matches and an old friend of mine now who I've done promo with, Britt Baker, and she shows up. I think she was in one of the episodes in Cobra Kai. But in any case, you mingle with some of these people who are in the wrestling world, and you get a better look at what it's really like, and the kind of athletes that they are. And it's always fascinated me. It really has fascinated me. That you have to be in such great shape. You really have to be in great shape. And whether it's people can tell that it's theatrics or they think it's real, it doesn't matter. It's to people, it's entertainment. It's just entertainment. So I enjoy it for that fact.
Yeah. So when they brought this role to you, what's going through your mind when that happened? Like, was this an immediate, hey, I want to do this, or how did this all come about?
Well, Al Haft was, out of, the Midwest, and he created, basically he gave her, Mildred Burke, her first shot, and they were doing carnival stuff, and nothing really appreciated in the American, at the American standards and of fighting and all, and he gave her the shot. And, I think it's, in Los Angeles or New York until the late 60s, early 70s, female wrestlers could not wrestle. So he gave her a shot in the late 40s, and she became, he had a lot of integrity and had a lot of forethought, and he could see this would be very, very beneficial for people who just enjoy athletes. and enjoy wrestling and enjoy baseball and enjoy football. Because remember, there was no TV. This was late 40s, and, TV was just starting. And, he had enough perception to see what would work and what wouldn't work in the entertainment field. He wasn't the tycoon of the role that Walton played. Walton's, I forgot the character's name, but another brilliant visionary, but mostly for the East Coast. And it was terrific. And the other reason I wanted to do it is because Ash Avildsen, is the son of John, and we've talked a lot. And I just had great confidence in him being a good director. And he did. He really directed this. He wrote it, and he knew exactly what he wanted, and he chose people that are good. And I'm very happy for him. I think, he's got a great career coming up. He wrote it, directed it, put money into it. And it's just an underdog story to me is the most exciting kind of stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't wait for everybody to see Queen of the Ring in theaters this Friday. We had a chance to see it last Thursday at the premiere here in Nashville. Incredible. Everybody's going to love this, especially if you're a wrestling fan. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, like you said, the underdog story. It's a great movie to go see. Again, Queen of the Ring in theaters this Friday. And, one of the cool things when we saw, the cast and who was all a part of it, Queen of the Ring features several professional wrestlers in the cast, including our friend Kaylee, who also a lot of people know as Camille. She played June Byers. How was your experience working alongside a lot of these athletes, these wrestlers turned actors, and did their wrestling backgrounds influence the film's authenticity?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like playing tennis with an A player. If you're a B player and you play with an A player, your game is going to rise. Emily, I don't think Emily was a wrestler. And Emily became a wonderful wrestler as Mildred Burke because of the stunt women, because of the wrestlers that she worked with. And it was uncanny how your game rises when it's like acting with Anthony Hopkins, You can't help but working well as an actor. The give and take is brilliant. And so the same thing with wrestling. They bring your game up. And there was a lot of devotion and they were very serious, all the wrestlers. And the stunt women, they were wrestlers at one time and very serious and very helpful. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. Happens in Cobra Kai because everybody's devoted to the original movies, and they want to be on the set of Cobra Kai because of the heritage of Karate Kid, So it's built in. But sometimes in a new movie like this, it isn't built in. The devotion, the seriousness, the basic preparation, and it was all good. And I know from preparation, because if you don't prepare in Karate Kid or in Cobra Kai, the choreography looks terrible. You're winging it. You can't wing the choreography. You've got to really know what you're doing. And I bought every single moment that was in this movie. I bought more moments in this movie than I did as a little kid watching Haystacks Calhoun hit the mat,
Right. Yeah, and that's incredible because I mean, like you said, you can see it play out on the big screen when you go watch Queen of the Ring. You could see the like you said, the wrestlers, the stunt doubles. Emily, who we had on the show last week, incredible, talked about going through the training of wrestling and working with Kaylee and every other wrestler on there to make it look authentic and make it look like we're watching a wrestling match. And I think a lot of the audience is going to see that when they see Queen of the Ring in theaters this Friday.
Yeah, I mean, Emily was brilliant. She's really terrific. And, everybody participated and contributed to a really good movie because it's an independent movie that, could really blow up or it could just go down the tubes, you just don't know. And underdog movies are good, but the bottom line is, man, if you don't make them well, if there's not character development. If you didn't like John Kreese in Cobra Kai and respect him, you're not going to cry when I had that emotional scene at the end. You're not going to feel he's misunderstood. He's not a villain. You got to develop these characters, and Ash developed them, and the actors did really good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal work, I got to say. Again, Queen of the Ring in theaters this Friday. Nationwide, definitely go to the theaters, check it out if you're looking for something to do this weekend. I know that we're here to talk about Queen of the Ring, but I would feel bad myself if I don't at least get to ask a question about Karate Kid and Cobra Kai. And, you know, recently you revealed that there was an alternate ending for John Kreese in the season finale where he survives a yacht explosion alongside Terry Silver. Could you share more about this scene and like the creative discussion that led to its exclusion from the final cut?
Well, we always assume, you know, it's like there's one adage that comes out: Cobra Kai never dies, and neither does John Kreese. You know, and what happens is we shot a scene where you just see my hand with my ring and a cigar, and I'm picking up a magazine, and the magazine says, "Whatever happened to Terry Silver?" And we shot that scene, and then the writers decided it was a little Hollywood ending. 24 hours later, you go to a newsstand and you see my hand, you know, taking a magazine. That explosion was so big that, you know, John Kreese unquestionably got out. But the bottom line is, was he in good enough shape 24 hours later to go to a newsstand, pick up a magazine for the sake of Hollywood cinema, you know? So I think they chose not to use it in episode 15 because it was hokey. It would have been too much considering the demolition of that yacht.
Yeah.
You know? And no one believes that John Kreese is dead anyway. You know, he survives everything. And I was at that Comic-Con in Nashville. Nobody bought that he was dead.
John Kreese is like Michael Myers. You can't kill him.
You can't kill him. You can't kill him. You know, it's just one of those things where, you know, I never wanted to be the tough guy in this series. I never wanted to be the villain. So you know, they wrote me with vulnerability and all, and it was very exciting. And I insisted on it at the beginning. And it worked out. You know, the character has got a lot of respect from people. And yet, you know, he's a monster. When he has to be a monster, he's a monster. And when he has to be, you know, just formidable and honest and loving, he cries at the end. When he cried in the arms of Billy, and Billy cried in his arms, you know, to me. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And, you know, when you think about it, you look at it and reflecting on the evolution, like what you just talked about of John Kreese from the Karate Kid to Cobra Kai. How do you feel altogether now that it's all said and done about the character's journey and the closure that it provided in the series finale?
Well, the scene with Billy was a culmination of 40 years of a relationship where both of us cry in each other's arms in episode, I think it's episode 13. You know, all that builds up, and it is not easy to just throw all the qualities of John Kreese out because you finished shooting. A lot of the residual effects stayed with me. And, you know, his impatience, his omnipotence, his anger, you know, my way or the highway, you know, all that stays with you when you're doing a character 3-4 months a year for 5 years. And you managed to shake it when you did the movie in '84. It didn't stay with me then because the backstories weren't looming the way you have to create a backstory for all these characters or why they are the way they are. I didn't create a big backstory for John Kreese back in 1983 when we shot. I just, you know, talked about him being working with mercenaries and being an Army Ranger, but nowhere near as much as I focused on him for the series. And, a lot of those residual things kept in my body. I blew out a lot of relationships because of these qualities that you just couldn't get rid of. I think it happened to Heath Ledger and Daniel Day-Lewis did Lincoln that way. Sometimes you can get rid of it and sometimes you can't. So I think the resolution to the character is very rich. It's very honest. It's loving. He cares about Johnny, and it's resolved. After 40 years since I broke his trophy, in Karate Kid 2, it's now a resolved relationship where, he's my son, and I've always revered him as a student. And he became the student who surpassed the teacher, which is one of the lines I say to Terry Silver on the boat,
Mm-hmm.
And it's exciting. It's very exciting to move on and do this, Prodigal Son, this Western, and get it on TV and do it with my son. It's very exciting.
Yeah. Sounds like some fun stuff right there, like you said. And again, I know we're here to talk about Queen of the Ring. It's out in theaters this Friday. Go see it in theaters this weekend. Martin, it is an honor and a privilege to have you on the show. Before we let you go, is there anything you want to say to people watching or listening to this right now?
Well, just go to see this movie because it is as good as Rocky made you feel and Karate Kid made you feel. This will make you feel just as good. It's done well, and I think Ash learned a lot from his father, and all the gloves are dropped in the proper places, so you as an audience member can pick them up and feel what's going on, and then the finale is you're going to be tingling and crying, and just go to see the movie. So it shall be written, so it shall be done, and remember. Mercies for the weak.